China manufactures a vast majority of luxury goods, sometimes legally, sometimes questionably, but always quietly. That's how it was until last week.
They take almost finished bags from China factories back to their own factories.
Chinese factories are speaking up, and that too on TikTok. Take a Birkin bag, for example. Video claims that a bag is made in China for $1,400, all things included. And how much does Hermès sell it for? $38,000. That's a markup of over 2,600%. Now, those Chinese factories are speaking up, and that too on TikTok.
Do you recognize this style, this bag? Of course you do. For the past more than 30 years, we have been the OEM factory for most of the luxury brands around the world.
You thought the Birkin was untouchable? Think again. One of the world's most iconic luxury bags is now caught in a scandal that's rocking the fashion elite, and Hermès is scrambling.
Our price is only 1/10 of those from the boutique. But we have exactly the same design, same material, and we're even the same group of people who have been making this bag.
The Hermès Birkin isn't really a handbag. It's an access card to society's most rarefied circles. When Rihanna swings one on her forearm, or Elon Musk's mom strolls past paparazzi with that signature lock gleaming, the message is crystal clear. I've made it, and I want you to know. Crafted. So we're told by master artisans who snip, sew, and polish each hide with near religious devotion, a single Birkin can command the price of a brand new luxury sedan. Limited supply, endless waitlists, and the hush-hush Hermes game make scoring one feel like winning the lottery in velvet gloves. But listen to this. The very myth that fuels the Birkin's prestige, its whispered promise of flawless French craftsmanship, just took a major hit after an explosive factory leak out of China, and Hermès has slammed the brakes on Birkin production while the truth unravels.
Made in France, Hermès, Chanel, Louis Vuitton, Saint Laurent, Hermès, all of these. They put this stuff is made in China. It would cost too much money to make it in France.
What if I told you that the so-called apex of high fashion is hiding a dirty little secret? One viral video just flipped the luxury world on its head, and the truth behind those covetable bags is way messier than all the glossy ads and red carpet photo ops suggest. The Birkin, touted as the uncontested queen of handbags, might not be lovingly stitched in some sun-drenched Parisian atelier after all. But listen to this. Industry chatter says a huge chunk of production is actually happening in China. Yup, China, that emblem of French craftsmanship may be rolling off Chinese factory lines for a fraction of the cost before being shipped to Europe, slapped with a made in France label, and parked on boutique shelves for 5-figure price tags. When the expose hit the web, fashion fans everywhere yelled, "If it's made in China, why are we paying like it's plated in gold?" Here's the kicker. Why has the brand kept this hush-hush for so long? The whole scandal exploded when a whistleblower inside a Chinese plant finally said, "Enough," and leaked the receipts for the world to see.
Donald Trump just pissed off the wrong country. China is currently exposing all luxury brands.
More than 80% of the luxury bags in the world are made in China.
Though, remember how Maze loves to flex about its exclusive ingredients? The buttery leather, the luxe thread, the gleaming hardware. According to that whistleblower, none of it is as rare or as sacred as the brand would have you believe. The parts are sourced from a grab bag of suppliers scattered around the globe, then shipped to China, where they're franken-stitched together on the cheap. But let's zero in on that famous Birkin leather, because this is where things get juicy. Hermès been crowing for years that only the creme de la creme hides from Italy, France, and Germany make the cut. Think MTI in Tuscany, Weinheimer in Germany, plus a mysterious French tannery. Each pristine hide, roughly $450, 0 cents a piece. Sounds ultra exclusive, right? But that's not all. While the leather itself is genuinely top shelf, it's not being caressed into shape by candlelit artisans in some Storybrooke Paris atelier. A cow is a cow, no matter its zip code. Chinese factories now claim those same premium hides land straight on their cutting tables, where the actual Birkin bodies are stitched, molded, and finished. Thousands of miles from Europe's so-called luxury sanctuaries. Though, yeah, sourced from Europe, assembled in China, and still ringing up at 5 figures once that made in France stamp hits the tag.
Your Prada, Gucci, and Louis Vuitton, they're all made in China. There's no such thing as a knockoff. All your branded goods are made in the same factories, stored in the same warehouses, all in China.
Let's go with the details. The thread lacing these bags together is filet chinois, a premium French yarn that clocks in at about $25, 0 cents per bag, and gets hyped as virtually indestructible. And the hardware? Pure ocean-grade 316 stainless steel, the kind that laughs in the face of rust while staying frosty and chrome bright. But listen to this. All those top-shelf ingredients are being shipped straight to sprawling factories in China, not to some romantic Parisian atelier like Hermès marketing would have you picture. The whistleblower behind that viral video spells it out. While Hermès keeps selling the fantasy of candlelit craftsmen in the heart of Paris, the real stitching, shaping, and finishing is happening thousands of miles away. Proof that the made in France mystique is more smoke than substance.
Luxury brands then purchase these items from them and sell them for a 10-15 times markup. Made in Italy? Made in France? It's all made in China.
People online, they're straight up melting down. Social feeds are flooded with posts from shell-shocked shoppers who feel totally played. Imagine wiring $40, 0 cents K for handcrafted French luxury, only to find your prized Birkin may have rolled off a Chinese assembly line. Some users are livid, accusing Hermès of running a years-long con. Others shrug it off as clickbait hype, blaming the whistleblower for stirring the pot. But it gets crazier. A growing crowd says the real issue isn't the leather or the stitches at all, it's the logo. If you can snag the exact same bag, built with the same materials for a fraction of the price just because it skipped the Paris stamp, what are people really paying for? Suddenly, it feels less about craftsmanship and all about flexing that status symbol.
Hermès has been exposed, but a lot of y'all want to comment saying like, oh my God, don't be ridiculous. It's a lie. Hermès is made in France. You guys, the people that run the industry that know this in and out are coming out and exposing that China is telling the truth.
It's not just everyday keyboard warriors fuming on Twitter. Fashion editors, boutique buyers, and luxury goods analysts have crashed the comments section too. A few insiders still ride hard for Hermès, insisting that even if the bags are stitched in Shenzhen, the brand enforces obsessive quality checks and preserves that legendary French touch. But listen to this. A louder faction now says the whole luxury machine needs a reality check. They're calling out how labels like Hermès and Louis Vuitton milk the image of rarefied, Parisian elegance while quietly chasing cheaper labor abroad. That whiff of romance, starting to smell like smoke and mirrors. And the mess doesn't stop with Hermès. Gucci, Prada, even LV are getting dragged for outsourcing sizable chunks of their production to China. Proof that the rabbit hole of made in France mystique runs way deeper than one bag brand.
You know how much it costs at the boutique? 300,000 USD. You know what our price is? Less than 1/10 of the boutique one.
Here's the real bombshell. Some industry reports claim that more than 80% of today's luxury goods are quietly rolling off Chinese production lines. Let that sink in for a sec. Those dazzling made in France or made in Italy stamps that once screamed craftsmanship, lineage, and prestige, they're starting to look more like clever marketing tricks than ironclad guarantees. Find out, it gets good crazier. While the quality itself is still solid, no one's saying these bags are falling apart. The legendary narrative of candlelit ateliers and fourth-generation artisans is unraveling fast. Turns out a big slice of that so-called old world magic is actually happening in modern factories scattered across the globe.
Once upon a time, luxury was made in Europe. France had Chanel, Italy had Gucci, the UK had Burberry. The West made these brands. The East made the knockoffs.
So what happens to a brand's billion-dollar aura when the fairy dust settles? Short answer, it's wobbling hard and the spotlight is scorching. Consumers have ditched the Kool-Aid for magnifying glasses. They're demanding receipts, even refunds. If you're wiring 5 figures for a luxury tote, you deserve to know whether you're paying for genuine artistry or just an overhyped logo stitched on a factory line. All right, but listen to this. Hermès and company are getting roasted in real time. This isn't some minor slip-up or isolated TikTok rumor. It feels seismic, like the entire luxury landscape is tilting. Shoppers are suddenly asking the big question, what does luxury even mean in 2025? Because let's be real, that word doesn't land the way it used to Folks aren't blindly swallowing sky-high price tags anymore. They want proof of craftsmanship, heritage, and transparency. And when brands go radio silent, the internet only cranks up the volume. Comment sections explode, hashtags trend, outrage snowballs. Meanwhile, Hermès, not a peep. No statement, no slick PR spin, not even one of those vague "we value our customers" posts, just stone cold silence, as if they're hoping the storm simply blows over.
China manufactures a vast majority of luxury goods, sometimes legally, sometimes questionably, but always quietly. That's how it was until last week.
While Hermès keeps ghosting the conversation, a few rival houses are racing to control the narrative. NBC News reports that several labels have already come out swinging, flat out denying any large-scale China outsourcing. But listen to this. Louis Vuitton, for one, is leaning into radical transparency. Its website lets you click through factory locations, production videos, the whole shebang. Meanwhile, some of the fiery TikToks that ignited the scandal have been fact-checked and flagged as misleading, muddying the waters even more. General Kulti Harper told Vought the Independent that people are confusing shady knockoff sweatshops with bona fide high-tech factories in China. These legit plants, he says, are masters of the social media flex and know exactly how to sell Western shoppers their own flavor of opulence. France 24's deep dive backs him up. Plenty of claims are fuzzy, but the fallout is crystal clear. Sure or not, the uproar has already rattled the way the world looks at its favorite prestige labels.
Some say as long as there's a tag saying made in China, the bag can never be luxury. However, in fact, more than 80% of the luxury bags in the world are made in China. But those luxury brands just won't acknowledge that.
Online sentiment has officially flipped. Legions of once devoted fans are over the hype and demanding a serious reality check from the entire luxury crowd. Yet Hermès keeps serving radio silence. And in today's cancel at the speed of Wi-Fi culture, that quiet feels a lot like guilt. But that's not all. Those viral receipts are spreading so fast that insiders say Hermès might quietly mothball certain Birkin models just to stop the bleeding. If the made in China whispers turn out to be fact, halting production could be their last-ditch bid to keep the brand's century-old aura from completely unraveling. And if that happens, anyone who's already forked over hefty deposits or spent years on those legendary waitlists could be left twiddling their thumbs even longer, wondering whether their dream bag just turned into vaporware.
They take almost finished bags from China factories back to their own factories and just do the repackaging and logo installing, something like that. That way, the bags will appear at their boutiques.
Hermès has been dancing on thin ice before. Past lawsuits and whistleblower leaks have already pulled back the curtain on some less than glam order fulfillment tricks. One California suit even accused the house of strong-arming shoppers into buying mountains of scarves and jewelry just to earn a golden ticket to purchase a Birkin. Meanwhile, hopeful clients were left cooling their heels on wait lists for months, sometimes years, with zero guarantee the bag would ever materialize. But it gets worse. If today's uproar over the Birkin's true birthplace is legit, Hermès may be forced to slam the brakes on production just to staunch the bleeding. And let's be real, customers won't sit around forever. Refund demands and lawsuit threats are already looming, especially in regions where truth in labeling laws have real teeth. Passing off a made in France tag on a bag built elsewhere isn't marketing flair, it's false advertising. And courts call that fraud. Translation, Hermès could be staring straight down the barrel of a multi-million-dollar legal disaster.
Imagine that you have an Hermès bag, and suddenly the label on it changed from made in France into made in China. Do you suddenly feel that your bag is not as luxury as before?
The resale scene is straight up chaos right now. Sellers are scrambling to offload their Birkins before prices nosedive, while die-hard collectors are white-knuckling their bags, praying the storm passes and values rebound. But listen to this. Authentication platforms are sweating bullets too. If a Birkin was stitched in China but stamped made in France, how can anyone verify its true origin or even know what they're authenticating? The entire luxury flip game just flipped upside down, and collectors are left wondering if no one can tell what's real, what's left of the high-end status flex. Right now, plenty of people feel like they've been royally played.
Let's not be poisoned and misled by the market campaign any longer and be a real person. Buy a bag from us, from our factory in China. See the real world for yourself.
While Hermès is busy taking the hits, rival Maisons are lounging in the front row with popcorn. Some are openly smirking at the meltdown, others are sweating bullets. Because if the almighty Birkin can get busted, who's to say their own closets won't be next? How long before another exclusively French house gets dragged for offshoring labor while still slapping on 5-figure price tags? But wait, it gets juicier. Consumers might have swallowed the truth if Hermès had just kept it real. Yes, we source premium materials worldwide and use international workshops, but we enforce sky-high standards. Instead, they doubled down on the candlelit atelier fairy tale. Now the Paris-crafted fantasy is cracking, and that mask isn't sliding back on anytime soon.
Welcome to the real world. Now you see, those bags are made in China by our intelligent and diligent Chinese artisans.
What happens next? In the luxury world, trust is the product. And right now that trust has snapped. When belief evaporates, an empire built on prestige starts to shake. Shoppers are side-eyeing every Made in France tag, dissecting press releases, and demanding receipts. Influencers who once waved their Birkins like victory flags are now dropping TikToks titled, "I blew $30 euro cents, K on a fairy tale." And the views are shooting through the roof. But it gets worse. This isn't just a wave of backlash, it's turning into a full-scale reckoning that threatens to redraw the entire map of high fashion. Hermès is at a fork in the road. Come clean, rebuild the trust, and show the world what modern luxury really looks like, or keep clinging to yesterday's fairy tale and risk drifting into irrelevance. Because let's be honest, luxury in 2025 isn't just about the product anymore. It's about the narrative, the receipts, the transparency. And right now, that narrative is an absolute train wreck. But that's not all. The rumor mill went turbo just days after President Trump froze select global tariffs and slapped a jaw-dropping 145% tax hike on Chinese imports. The timing? Suspiciously perfect. TikTok is overflowing with users swearing these exposed clips are gospel, watching millions of views stack up overnight. And here's where it gets even wilder. Some theorize Beijing might be nudging those videos up the algorithm as payback for Trumpers' tariff grenade. Whether that's chess or just coincidence, the plot keeps thickening. And Hermès has to decide whether to face the music or keep dancing in the dark. Whether that tariff war theory holds water or not, one thing's crystal clear. Any luxury label caught in this crossfire is staring at a full-blown PR nightmare. The upside? This might finally be the jolt the industry needs. Time to swap smoke and mirrors for genuine craftsmanship, honest sourcing, and radical transparency. But that's not all. As a Birkin bombshell has split the internet into two loud camps, team it's all about the artisanship versus team we just got hustled. So what actually defines luxury in 2025? Origin, execution, or the glossy story we're sold alongside a $40 0 cents K price tag? Either way, the drama just slapped the fashion world with a frosty reality check, and something tells me the conversation is only getting started. Smash that like button, hit subscribe, share with your squad, and sound off in the comments. Whose side are you on? Catch you in the next episode.